What's going on, everyone? It's Justin here, and today I've got a what's in my travel bag video for 2022. So I'm in Barcelona, Spain right now in this absolutely beautiful hotel, and the funny part of it is that the actual fixtures and everything look quite similar to my overall aesthetic and similar to the home office set as well. So I figured I would film this video out here because I just didn't have enough time to film it before I left because it's been a very, very busy start to the year. But the best part is we're back on the road, and I'm in Barcelona right now for Mobile World Congress 2022 with Oppo to be able to check out the convention for the very first time, but also create a travel film in Barcelona featuring the phone itself, its camera capabilities, and just bring back that travel series as a whole that you guys saw back in 2019. But today we're here to talk about all the things that I've brought on this trip, how my gear pack has changed, and in fact, this is actually the lightest that I've packed to date. We're gonna be going over the tech side of things, the camera equipment, maybe show you guys some of the photos that I took on the Leica in the past week or so, as well as showing you some of the chargers and accessories and little gadgets and hacks that I've kind of put into my bag after traveling a ton. And on top of that, I'm also gonna show you the toiletry items that I'm using at the moment and maybe the clothes that I brought as well. So I'm gonna go into huge detail here, and the reason why I haven't made this video in literally 2 years is because it just wouldn't have been realistic. I simply haven't traveled at all, and so I figured let's go ahead and show you guys every single thing because some things have stayed the same, but others may have changed. And if you guys want to win an item from this video, just go ahead and subscribe to the channel, drop a thumbs up on the video, and leave a comment down below with what you think is the most effective travel accessory, and I'll be picking a winner in the comment section in 3 weeks. So starting with the backpack, this right here is a Gucci canvas one that I picked up in Milan, Italy about 2 years ago. It was a lot cheaper than what it would have been in North America, and even though it is still overpriced, it is just a nice canvas backpack that I think has a good blend of practicality but also a little bit of style to it. And being canvas, it is very, very durable. It has 2 different buckles right here, and it has a bit of a drawstring that allows me to just put my laptop, my tablet in and quickly access everything that I need. But I also like the places that all the pockets are placed. And essentially how I've kind of mapped out that bag is I have my laptop and my tablet, of course, in the main compartment. I have my passport on the inside zipped up because you don't want to lose that. And then on the grab and go side, I have some charging cables and things that I might need around the airport. And I also have a pair of wireless earbuds on the top because as you get on the plane and put it underneath the seat, you're most likely going to grab your iPad and your earbuds. And so I feel like this bag really does suit my overall style and the practicality needs of what I need to put inside of it. Depending on where I am, I might bring this backpack out with me every single day, but in this trip, for example, where we are in a place that is very crowded and theft does seem to be an issue, I've actually been able to pack extremely minimally and not even bring a wallet, just a little bit of cash, and my phone and everything else is on mobile, and so I only have to really look at one item, and then I have my Leica on a strap, and that everybody on the team is keeping an eye out for each other because depending on where you are, you may want to be conscious of that. So I know in the past travel bag videos, you guys said this is not a safe travel pack, but to be honest, all the stuff stays in the hotel and often in a safe. So when it comes to the laptop that I'm using right now, this is the MacBook Pro 14-inch with the M1 Max processor as well as 64 gigabytes of combined memory. It's been really, really good, to be honest. When I first got it, I didn't really use it that much because I work at home every day, I have my desktop and all that kind of stuff, and aside from some very light admin work and some video editing, I really wasn't putting this laptop through its paces. But after having it for a week on the road, I can tell you that for the first time in a while, I feel like I can completely replace my desktop workflow with a laptop like this. And even though I'm not going to be switching to this because we do have that large computer that I use for all my daily work and video editing in general, I am very excited about the future and Apple's Pro line of M1 computers that are hopefully going to be available sometime this year. So this next item right here is the 11-inch M1 iPad. I would say that it is very unnecessary to bring an iPad and a MacBook on a given trip. And in the past, I've actually traveled with only the iPad and just left the MacBook at home, especially on shorter trips where on-site video editing is not really needed. In this case, because I had about 20 hours of flying, watching movies on an iPad is a lot easier. I have the Netflix app, I have the Crave app, everything is downloaded on the iPad itself. It doesn't take up as much space, you can fold it up and all that kind of stuff. And even though you can do that all on a laptop, I just find because there is a choice to use the iPad, it is a lot more practical. And a lot of times I also like to do some photo editing on the tablet as well, thanks to the Apple Pencil. So if I need to do any retouching in Lightroom and stuff like that, then I can do that on the iPad. And I did also bring a USB Type-C adapter that has an SD card card slot, so I can just put the SD card there and import the photos straight to the tablet. So something else that I also love to use my iPad for, whether it's on the go or at home in our typical day-to-day workflow, is Evernote. And I want to give a huge thanks to them for sponsoring this video. For those who don't know, Evernote is a one-stop organization and productivity system, and the team at Feature Media uses it to stay organized and productive with all our notes and to-do lists. Some of the notebooks that we have include like video ideas, video scripts, and areas to highlight, packing lists, and also like our Airbnb business while we try to put together the entire welcome experience, and also brainstorming YouTube series such as the home series that's going to be coming up very soon. I can really start my day by knowing what's a priority because the homepage organizes everything from important notes to my schedule, and it has all different tasks assigned, and you can also add to-do lists. In addition to that, because it does sync with like a schedule, you're able to add certain meeting notes to specific meetings that you might have on your given calendar, and that is definitely something that we have to do with the number of calls and communications throughout a given day. Whether you're on your smartphone, tablet, web app, or computer, you're easily able to access all of your notes in an organized form from anywhere, and also search specific things within your own kind of like company database. It is something that I've used since university, and in a business where we're always coming up with ideas, and a lot of them are just being brainstormed before being moved on to actual production, this is just a very essential part of our workflow. So if you guys want to go ahead and check it out, I'm going to leave a link down below to a free trial. So if I had to pick one favorite thing in this entire gear bag, aside from like the necessities such as my phone and my laptop, it would easily have to be the Leica Q2 Camera. I was someone who didn't really take many photos on trips before. Every photo would come from like the iPhone, and that was just because I work in the video space, of course, on YouTube, and most of the time I was worried about filming video, and I just wouldn't really think of taking any photos. And on top of that, bringing like another photo camera and having different lenses just made it essentially like too overwhelming to focus on all things at once. So I originally picked up like a Fuji X100V camera that was a single focal length, really portable, fits in the pocket, and you just take it around anywhere and snap a photo. But then I saw some friends pick up the Leica Q2, and I saw the price tag. Honestly, thought it was way too much for a camera that is like relatively limited in its feature set. It's able to take photos, but it has a single focal length. But after seeing the images and the quality that comes out of it, and that kind of like extra like 20% that you get from spending a lot more money, I figured that I would go ahead and pick one up on Facebook Marketplace, got a pretty good price on it, and I've had it for about a year now, and I have absolutely loved it. Just take a look at the photos that it's able to grab. When I'm walking around and I am not filming video that day or something, I'll just have this on my strap just to keep it safe. But this is able to shoot photos in 48 megapixel at a fixed 28mm focal length, and it is just super easy to use. You have your shutter dial on the top, you have your focus dial on the front here, as well as your aperture, and you can also have the focus set to the macro mode. And for the most part, I have like the face and eye tracking on, and it's just a casual camera that everyone on your trip can enjoy and just capture those moments, because that is the most important thing about photography. So on the earbud side of things, this is one area that has changed a little bit since the last What's in My Bag video. Before, I would use like Bose earbuds that were wired back when everything still had like a headphone jack, but now in 2022, that is pretty much being eliminated everywhere, and unless I bring another adapter, which I forget all the time, I've gone fully wireless. Those Bose earbuds were really good. I mean, they were reliable, they were able to noise isolate, but I've switched over to these truly wireless earbuds, and I've been testing the Sony 1000 XM4s, but I also have my trusty Apple AirPods Pro, and to be honest, I'm kind of split on which one that I like more. The Apple AirPod is one that I'm just personally used to and I really like. The sound quality is pretty decent, and the noise cancellation is good. I usually find that on flights, I can listen to dialogue and music and all that kind of stuff, and as long as that is isolated, that's pretty much all I need. I don't need any like extreme level of noise isolation, but I will say, the XM4s definitely give you a better noise isolation and slightly better sound quality as well. But the reason why I don't plan to bring them on another trip is just because the comfort level is just not as good as the Apple AirPods. There is like this like foam tip to it that is able to like mold to your ear and give you like kind of a memory foam fit, but I just found that it was too tight, and because of the weight difference and all that kind of stuff, on like a 7 or 8 hour flight, I was able to wear them for like 2 hours maybe before I'd have to like take them out once in a while, and found them a little bit irritating. So yeah, the Apple AirPods Pro is the one that I'm using at the moment. So when it comes to like the phones that I brought on this trip, my daily phone, of course, is the iPhone 13 Pro. This right here is one that just gets the job done. I mean, it's not like flashy, it's nothing exciting, it is just reliable, it's what I'm used to, the form factor is nice, the battery life is pretty decent. So yeah, you guys have seen videos of this and the What's on My iPhone video that I did recently. Nothing really new about that, but some of the apps that I definitely recommend having are of all the airlines that you're flying with. A lot of times they do want you to use the app for like getting the boarding passes, and even if you're flying through one airline, there might be multiple ones that are connected to it. So having all the travel apps that you need on here and any resources as well as like Google Translate, because my Spanish is awful, has been very, very useful, and I would recommend that for everyone. We're in Barcelona with Oppo though, and they just recently launched the Oppo Find X Pro smartphone, and this is their new flagship at the moment, along with their partnership with Hasselblad. As you can see, this beautiful ceramic back, this gorgeous display on the front that covers all around it, but what we're really testing out this trip is the camera capabilities. And not only is there a 50 megapixel main camera as well as a 50 megapixel ultra wide camera, but there is also a 13 megapixel telephoto camera as well, and the big focus is the Mirror Silicon X NPU developed by Oppo, and that is what brings features such as 4K HDR night video, and of course we're going to be testing out the photo and video modes throughout the day in different scenarios. On all the trips to Europe actually, it's been with Oppo to go ahead and test out their brand new phone, the low light performance, the zoom, and all that kind of stuff, and it's been interesting to see how they've gotten really creative with the camera over the years. I remember testing out the periscope zoom in Switzerland to like night photo when it was still relatively new in Milan, Italy. So yeah, this trip has been like using all the cameras, and especially the ultra wide cameras when taking pictures of like architecture as well. Even though I do have my backpack, a lot of times I don't really need to take that whole backpack. I just need my laptop to go downstairs to the coffee shop, get some work done. And so I still bring like a pouch here. It is just like a simple canvas one from Herschel, and it just like is very minimal. It stays clean. It has like a nice magnetic opening to it. Laptop slides in. And the reason why I'm using this is because I have a lot of 13-inch laptop cases, and most of them didn't fit my new MacBook Pro 14-inch. It was just a little bit too thick, a little bit wider, and this is one that is able to fit it, so it was kind of the obvious choice. But I find it's good to just have like that secondary layer of protection in the backpack, because I usually have a ton of stuff that's just rolling around and can kind of get in the way of it. So yeah, that is it. On the topic of MacBooks and tech in general, though, one essential accessory when traveling is the proper power brick. And once again, we have quite a few of these, and we have to cover a large range of tech products, including cameras, laptops, like phone batteries, and all that kind of stuff. And all those require different wattages to be able to charge at the fastest speed possible. So in front of me, I have the Ugreen Nexode 100 watt gallium nitride charger. And this has been my go-to charger for both at home and day-to-day use, as well as on travel, because it is able to charge up to 100 watts. So if you have the MacBook Pro M1 16-inch or 14-inch, it is able to support that wattage and give you a fast charge. But at the same time, it is a 4-in-1, which gives you 3 USB Type-C ports and a USB Type-A port, and it will adjust the wattage allocation depending on what you have plugged into it. So if it's just the MacBook, for example, it will give you up to 100 watts, and if you have like an iPad, a smartphone, and a camera plugged in, it will kind of allocate that safely and accordingly. It is also significantly smaller than Apple's first-party charger because it fits in the palm of your hand, and it's very travel friendly with the prong that is able to flip in. So yeah, like having 3 ports is really great for being able to charge various devices that are mostly USB Type-C nowadays, but it's still nice to have that one USB Type-A port occasionally. In terms of real-world speeds, it is able to charge your iPhone 13 to 60% in just 30 minutes, and it can fully charge your MacBook Pro 16-inch in just 1.5 hours. So if you guys want to go ahead and check it out for yourself, I'm going to drop a link down below, and they've also given me a discount code which puts it at a very good price point. As for some of the smaller accessories, I like to carry them in a few different pouches. So I have one right here that is like the Western Digital black one, and you can find a lot of like similar things like this or like toiletry cases on like Amazon. And here I have some of the camera accessories, the card readers, and also the SSDs. So I just have like a red one here, and there's also an additional adapter. So there, I have my SD card slot, my USBs from Satechi, and on top of that, this right here is the Western Digital Black 4TB NVMe SSD that is able to give me plenty of storage to back up all my files. Typically when it comes to filming on trips, because we can't refilm this stuff like again, I do back it up to the computer as soon as I get to the hotel at the end of the day, and then I'll back it up over to an SSD right after. So in the event that we're out and about the next day, the camera gets stolen, SD card's in there, we at least still have all the data, which is something that money can't buy back. The other accessory that I also brought on this trip is the Razer Orochi V2 mouse. Thanks to Carl Conrad for letting me borrow this because I forgot mine, but this is like one of the world's lightest mice, and that makes it very good for gaming, but to be honest, I just need it for productivity, and with it being so like light and versatile, I find that it is a really good option. I think this white finish right here is very sleek, but you just go ahead and flip it open here, and you have the option to actually use a AAA battery or a AA battery, and the battery life is absolutely insane. So the other thing that I also brought on this trip is the Sony FX3 Camera. And I know it might come as a huge surprise to a lot of you guys that I switched over to a Sony camera, and that came as a surprise to me as well. I don't really have anything like directly against Sony, but I just haven't used their cameras in like the last 5 years because I have been a huge Canon fan. We also have like the Reds and everything that is committed to the Canon ecosystem, especially with EF and RF. But when it came to like trying some of the new cameras and hearing about this one from my friend Thomas, I just had to go ahead and give it a try, and I have absolutely loved it. And in fact, in some of the recent videos that I would usually use like my main camera for, I shot it all on the FX3, and it has like a really nice cinematic look, especially with the right LUT to it. And there's just so many good things to say about this. And with the Red setup, it is huge, it's heavy, it's big to send on the plane. But in this case, I can just like focus on what I'm filming and what I'm trying to say, knowing that this camera is able to take care of a lot of the manual elements usually attributed to a more sophisticated process. So when it comes to like a cable and accessory pouch, I know this video is like very tech oriented, and I mentioned that I do keep a lot of the grab and go cables on the front here, and typically that is down to like USB Type-C, the iPhone cable, and all that kind of stuff that I might need at the airport specifically. But on top of that, there are still a lot of other things that I usually have to charge, and so I bring like a nice pouch that has all the camera accessories here. You have the spare batteries for like the main camera, you also have the computer chargers, the computer charging bricks, high wattage chargers, and I usually try to bring a combination of like a high wattage charger, a compact high wattage one, and also a spare smartphone one. And I also try to bring a variety of cables, whether it's a few USB Type-C, USB Type-C to Lightning, and occasionally also a USB-A to Lightning cable, because some hotels actually have USB ports built into the headboard, and so you can just go ahead and plug it in there and use the brick for something else. On like an international trip like this though, you also have to remember your plug adapters. Another thing that you also don't want to forget is a pen, because a lot of times you might have to like fill out customs forms and all that. It's just a handy thing to have when you need it. As for backup batteries, to be honest, we get sent backup batteries and like chargers all the time, to the point where I don't really have a preference. At this day and age, they all get the job done. They're all able to like give you a decent amount of capacity at a very slim size. And this right here is one that has, I believe, 10,000 milliamp hours, which is more than enough for a long journey. The only thing that I really need is one that has a USB Type-A port as well as a USB Type-C output, and that is able to get the iPad charged, all the other stuff charged. And the port that I've really been trying to eliminate out of my whole workflow is chargers that need micro USB, because that is just bringing another cord. So yeah, this one here is from like Inu, and I believe it's relatively inexpensive, but so far this trip, it has been able to last the entire leg, and I've only had to recharge it once. So when it comes to like the whole luggage situation, there has been a lot of different setups over the years. For years, I would just borrow it from my parents, grab some random luggage that I could find, but then I also started traveling with just duffel bags and camera bags. Everything was like soft shell, so you can really pack it. But I've also purchased like the luggages that everyone seems to kind of talk about, which is Rimowa, and to be honest, I really didn't like it at all. The aluminum just felt like it would always get damaged, and at the same time, you weren't able to like pack it as like tightly, just because it was like a rigid shape. So a few years ago, I picked up this away luggage, and generally speaking, I have been pretty happy with it. This is the largest size carry-on that they have. I got it in a very simple, boring black finish that looks like everyone else's luggage, so I gotta put some sticker on it or something. but this is one that has like nice little compartments. You have one side that zips up, you also have a center divider, as well as another side that is just completely open. And what I have it laid out as is I have all the t-shirts rolled up on one side, the hoodies and everything, and I also have like maybe some shoes in there, but the middle compartment is only socks and underwear. And as soon as there's like dirty laundry, there's also like a pouch that attaches to this, which makes it very easy to separate your clean and dirty clothes. So before we talk about the clothes, let's talk about the shoes. So I've got 2 pairs on this trip, and I would say that that is like the absolute most that I would want to bring on a full carry-on one. One of them is like the Common Projects, which is like a nice like white leather shoe that you guys have seen me wear all the time, but I recently purchased this pair that has like a blue heel to it, and what I've noticed is that this pair is a lot comfortable than the typical original Achilles low that everyone knows and loves. And it's the fact that I didn't get any blisters. They didn't have to like break in or anything. I was able to wear them right away, and they look literally exactly the same as the Achilles low. So that is the pair that I wear like the most. I'm going to trade show, meetings, and dinners. It's just like a nice like hybrid dressy piece. But at the same time, if you're on the plane, you don't want to be wearing like leather shoes for 12, 15, 18 hours. And so this is a pair that I recently got, and it is the APLs. Super simple. It has like a bit of a strap and elastic right here, and you don't have to like lace it up or anything. Just slip these on. They ventilate very nicely. They're super comfortable. And another thing that I've really liked doing during this trip is just going for a quick walk or run. I'm someone who hates running because I live in a small town, and I just feel like it's very pointless beyond like the health benefits. So if you like go on your run and appreciate the surroundings, before you know it, you're already done that run and you went way further than you thought you could. So yeah, I like having a pair of like hybrid shoes that are good for wearing around the airport, on the flight, but also going for like a quick run in the morning. As for the watch on this trip, my favorite one, of course, is the Rolex Daytona. Not only has it been the best investment, but it's just the one that I will like the most because it is very light to wear, relatively thin. But I don't know if I mentioned this, when I first purchased this and saw it in person for the first time, it was a lot smaller than I expected. So yeah, it's like a very nice everyday watch. I know nowadays like the Submariners are seen all the time, and I do have like the green Submariner that I wear quite often as well. But I feel like this is like the very precious piece that, despite the raise in value over the years, I think I'm gonna hold on to it for a very long time, because I actually sold my AP 39mm stainless Royal Oak to purchase this. And even though I'm more happy with this watch overall, I wish I didn't sell that one, because as soon as you sell them at one point, it's very hard to get back into it because the prices just fly so fast. So when it comes to like the clothing of this trip, right now in Barcelona, everyone is in like a jacket, which coming from Canada, I thought was kind of funny because it is about 15 degrees Celsius, which for me is probably considered more on like the warmer medium. And so for the most part, I've just been rocking crew necks, and I absolutely love it. And so I've got one right here that is a Represent one. I also have another one right here that is like the Represent Owners Collection in like the gray and green. And so these are very easy to wear anywhere. They're not too hot, they're not too cool. Definitely don't want to catch a cold. I also decided to bring this Balenciaga crew neck that I purchased a few years ago. Honestly, I haven't worn this one in like a very, very long time. I don't know, just decided to bring it out for this trip. Yeah, nothing really special about it, but in 2019, I was really into like clothing and spending money on like designer stuff. And to be honest, aside from like the Represent and stuff from my own clothing brand, I haven't really purchased any new clothes like whatsoever since then. When it comes to like going around the airport, I also just brought like a simple black hoodie. Not too hot, not too cool. This is just like one of the prototypes from my clothing brand, of course. And it's, yeah, warm enough for the flight, but I also do bring like a shell jacket just in case it's a little bit cooler at night. This is one from a company called Members Only that I brought on this trip, and I actually picked it up for just $10 at a thrift shop. I have heard from some people that this was actually like a pretty popular brand like back in the day, but I guess I wasn't born at the time it was, because I've actually never heard of it. But like underneath the hoodie, I think it just adds like a very nice layer to it. And as someone who doesn't like to really dress up, I feel like this at least helps a little bit with a pair of like white leather shoes. But on like a trip where it's a little bit cooler, then I might bring like a bomber jacket like the one that I've worn from Represent before. As for like other things such as pajamas, this is just like a shirt from Uniqlo. I think it's like an athletic one, but it keeps you nice and cool, relatively affordable. And I just started picking up some of the Uniqlo stuff, but I also have a lot of like H&M undershirts. Don't really need anything fancy, but just wear these underneath like a crew neck or hoodie. They were like $9, and so So on a trip like this, I'll bring like one per day, 7 or 8 of them. And all of my socks, by the way, are from eBay. So anything that is like an undergarment, I just buy like the absolute cheapest ones and buy a ton of it. On a trip like this though, where I don't anticipate I'm going to be needing a t-shirt, I just bring like one in case that is a little bit like fancier, not like an undershirt. And this is the one from my clothing company, and it's just like a heavyweight t-shirt. Obviously we sell our clothes at a retail store in Canada, so people do like a thicker material. And so this has like a nice color and everything to it. The texture is great. And so I'll wear this if I'm just like going for a workout or a run, and pair this with like the 24/7 Represent shorts. So when it comes to the toiletry bag, this is where I have like all of the essentials when it comes to like skincare, like the contact lens solution, all that kind of stuff, as well as like my shaver, toothbrush. I always seem to forget something, but I try my best to remember. And so I have everything stored in here, and the way I usually have my travel pack divided is liquids on one side and all the other stuff on the other. And then I put this all into like a watertight bag in my luggage or in my backpack. And so if it does leak, which occasionally does happen, then it doesn't get over all of my stuff. And also having quick access to be able to take out at TSA just makes things a lot easier. So I've been using this like wash bag for quite a few years now, and in terms of what I have in it at the moment, my overall like process is very, very simple when it comes to getting ready in the morning each day. The Brush electric toothbrush, because it is relatively portable. I really like that one, and I also just bring like a small toothpaste as well. And on top of that, I also bring my Babyliss double foil shaver, and I absolutely love that. My barber recommended it to me, and I don't use like any shaving cream or anything. I just go ahead and use that every morning, and it just leaves your skin very, very smooth. And after that, I don't use like any aftershave. I'll just like have some cold water just to close all the pores, and generally speaking, that has worked for me. On top of that though, when it comes to like skincare, for those who really watch videos from the past few years, you might have remembered that my last travel bag video in 2019, my lips were just like all like crackled up, and everyone said I should just get some like chapstick, but at the time I was on Accutane, which was to get rid of all the acne, and one of the side effects was your lips would be super chapped even if you like always have like chapstick and all that kind of stuff. But that's all like over with. So nowadays my skincare routine is just like the Aesop one that I have at home. And then before I go to bed, I use the Neutrogena Hydro Boost, which is just like one pump on each side and just like spread it around. And I mean, you wake up the next morning, your skin is all good. And yeah, nowadays it's just that. And on top of that, some of the other things that I also have to bring are my contact lens solution and cleaning kit. When it comes to the hair, there's also only like 2 products that I bring. One of them is just like something called the Cantu Coconut Curling Cream. And even though I don't have like curly hair, that is the reason why I use it. This curling cream with just like a little bit is able to just like soften up my hair a little bit, because as you guys had seen in past videos, it grows straight up and it doesn't look very good when it gets a little bit long on the front. So just to give it a bit of like volume, right after I get out of the shower while the hair is moist, I just get some of that curling cream in, and then I'll go ahead and grab my hair wax, which I've been using the Layrite Blue for quite a few years now, and just like mix it in. I don't usually like to use too much, but yeah, that's pretty much like the hair care routine. On certain trips, if I'm checking in baggage, I might bring like my Dyson hair dryer and the volumizer and all that kind of stuff, just because we have to film. But generally speaking, I've been completely fine without it, as you can tell, unless you think my hair looks terrible. On like a trip over a week, I might also just borrow a pair of scissors and give it a quick little trim and call my barber while he kind of yells at me for it. So yeah, when it comes to like this toiletry stuff, some of you care, I'm sure some of you guys don't give a crap, but I thought I'd mention some of the products anyways, because I'm definitely someone who learns from other people's routines, and once I like that item, I stick to it for a very long time. But otherwise, that pretty much wraps it up for my What's in My Bag video for this trip. And as always, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure you go ahead and drop a like if you did, subscribe to the channel. And yeah, I feel like I've covered everything here. It might look very clean in this hotel room, but it actually isn't. So I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I'll see you all when I get back.